have you covered as well. Once again, welcome into the show. This is the closing line for September 8th, 6 p.m. Eastern time tonight. I'm not going to lie, one of my favorite guests. You've seen us on here a lot. BMOC is going to join me in just a few moments to go over the entire card this evening and pick out a couple select spots on Saturday. As you know, Jeff, my partner in crime, I like to say, on the right side of campus. Jeff also hosts a big-time college football show, 11 a.m., with Pistol Pete here, right here at sportsbookreview.com. Don't miss that show. Record high volume numbers last week in the chat box. An exciting show. Jeff gave out a lot of winners. Pistol Pete's information was awesome. Make sure you join them tomorrow, but Jeff's going to join me here in just a few moments. Also, a little bit later, I know when you watch the shows, the right side of campus, late night on campus, whatever shows are on the round table, I'm a big fan of where is that money going, depending on what football game, what basketball game, what baseball game it is. Dave Mason from Bet Online is going to join us in about a half hour to go over where the money was last night, where the money's setting up on Saturday, and also for NFL Sunday here. And without further ado, my guest of the day, my guest of the week, the big man on campus. Jeff, what's going on, brother?
What's good, Donnie? Thanks for having me tonight.
Hey, no problem at all. Hey, man, I mean, we might as well just have a running, camera somewhere in my house, your apartment over there, and we can just, roll
Yeah.
this thing 24/7. But let's bring some information to the people tonight. I know we're really excited here, Jeff. Great pro football game last night. Love to see the upset. Again, I would have had the Patriots last night, just like most of the public last night would have had the Patriots and did have the Patriots. Your thoughts on that game before we move to this Major League Baseball card? I love when the NFL opens. It's finally here. Give me some thoughts on that game where you took away from that maybe you can use the rest of the season or just what you saw from either one of those teams there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw one thing is that the Patriots need to improve significantly on the defensive side. Really had problems stopping anyone last night. You don't normally see Alex Smith kind of just do whatever he wants with the football. I thought Tom Brady was a little bit didn't look himself. I don't know what was up with him. Overall, it was surprising. I mentioned I like the Patriots. We all like the Patriots. You just don't normally see them as a team that loses like that in their home field, especially game one. They just got the banner. They had the great ceremony, right before the game. Yeah, they have problems on the defensive end. Need to improve Rob Gronkowski a little bit more, include him a little bit more. I'm sorry. Yeah, but it was a great job of the Chiefs. Good game plan. Kareem Hunt was fantastic, especially after the early fumble. And Alex Smith might just be a gamer, Donnie.
I mean, no, it amazed me last night, Jeff. I took shots at Kansas City all off season. I was taking shots early in that game when they were down 7-0, taking shots at Kareem Hunt when he fumbled his first carry, like he's not ready for prime time. But Alex Smith was sensational throwing the ball downfield. Tyreek Hill looked like he was in another gear versus everybody else. And Kareem Hunt just looked like a seasoned veteran mixed between like Jamal Charles and Frank Gore out there. It was an amazing eye-opening experience for me. But again, Jeff, what do we like to say here in the NFL? And the same thing with college football early on. Overreactions are what we do. Let's see if they can carry over to next week. Chiefs have a tough game with the Philadelphia Eagles. Jeff, you know me. I love the NFL, right? And most people are chiming into the show, taking a look. You can see the background, like of where I do the show at my desk. The one thing you're going to notice, how you know it's NFL season, Jeff, if you look right behind me, I have one energy drink left. When most of the shows, it's stacked up in there. We're ready to go. That's how much prep time we've done for the NFL. That's how excited we are. And we'll certainly get underway in just a few segments here. We will talk some NFL football. But, Jeff, this is the closing line. We're about 45, 50 minutes outside of first pitch in Major League Baseball. We're not going to go over the entire card because, again, we don't have 2 to 3 hours to hang out and go over each and every game. Jeff and I covered a lot of this stuff earlier on the right side of campus. Now it's where the rubber meets the road, so let's get into some games. Jeff, I picked out 5 games for tonight that we're going to take a look at. A little bit more of marquee games, maybe some line movement in there, some things going on. Let's take a look first at 9:51, 9:52, and 8:05 Eastern time start. It's going to be Milwaukee and the Chicago Cubs. Nelson versus Lackey. Jeff, 81% of the public currently backing the Chicago Cubs here. But here we go. Line opened up at -140. Chris now -117. Pinnacle at -120. Bet Online -120. UWager -121. Over/under opened up at 8. Now down to 7.5 across the board. Both of these teams running out A lineups here. I've been a fan of Jimmy Nelson over the season. Not a huge fan of Lackey. These numbers reflect what I do like to look at gambling-wise. I'm going to lean on Milwaukee tonight. I like Nelson. I like the line movement. Give me the short dog here.
Yeah, I don't know that I understand the move down to 7.5 in this game. I mean, John Lackey's kind of struggled all year. Jimmy Nelson's not been particularly good on the road, but I do like Lackey's career numbers against the Brewers. The Brewers are kind of the team that I think we all thought would go away, and they have. The Cubs have kind of taken control of the Central for the most part and look to be poised to finish it out. But I don't really know that I understand the move down. I know the Cubs struggle against right-handers at times, but overall, you get two lineups, particularly with Milwaukee. They do hit a lot of home runs. Don't know that I understand that move down to 7.5, Donnie. Interesting for sure.
Yeah, I mean, even if the wind is blowing in, I was trying to get a quick report there, but I did see somebody in the chat box saying the wind is blowing in. It's a smaller ballpark as is. I've seen games, and again, Jeff, we're not asking for what? Double digits, 10 and a half, 11 runs, 7.5 here. I do like Nelson, which is why I'm going to lean on Milwaukee getting that short price there. I like the line movement where it's going. I like the lineup that Milwaukee has out there. And again, generally, Jeff, just fade of John Lackey at this point. Never been a big fan of his. We'll see what happens in this game. Do you have any leans, any certain ways that you might be looking at that one? Because me, I would be taking Milwaukee in this one.
Yeah, I don't have much. I would probably say over. I mean, normally when you have a total of 7.5 in baseball anymore, it's almost like when you had 6 in baseball, you'd always almost kind of
Yeah.
consider taking the over just because it's so low. I don't know that I understand that move. You can hit the ball on the ground. You don't necessarily have to hit it in the air. So if you hit plenty of doubles, the game will go over. You don't have to hit home run. So for me, I'd probably consider the over 7.5 here. I These aren't two pitchers that are locked down by any means.
Yeah, I actually agree with you there. Yesterday when I had Drew on the show, we went over almost a similar instance here, a 6.5, Jeff, even though it was a Clayton Kershaw start. And the joke that me and you always have on the right side of campus, throughout the summer is it only takes a swing of a bat, and it happened early on, a 3-run home run off Kershaw. You knew that game was probably going to get over the 6.5 once 3 runs were already scored on him. I believe the game
Right.
ended up 9-1, covering that total easy. So I like just saying what your concept is here. 7.5. I mean, Jeff, if we get to 4 runs apiece, we cover it easily. And even if you get 3-3, that 2-run home run late in the game is going to push you over. So I agree with your thought process on that one. Let's go next to 9:57, 9:58, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time start. Miami and Atlanta. We're going to go Urania and Fultonavich. 60% are back in the home team here, Jeff. The Atlanta Braves. Interesting line movement here. Chris opened up at a -111. Now -122 in the favor of the home team here. The Atlanta Braves. -109 opened up at Pinnacle. -124 now. -123. -121 across the board. Stanton is sitting this one out, which I'm actually surprised at because he's sort of chasing history, so to speak. Figured he'd want to get every single at bat. And again, Fultonavich is a hard throwing pitcher, which is exactly what Stanton wants to see here. Hit that fastball, drive it out of the ballpark. But that might be leaning why Chris opened up that line at -111. You see that complete reverse line movement, and 60% of the public, as I said, already currently on the Atlanta team here. Similar instance yesterday, Jeff. I have to give you credit. I mean, you tweeted it out yesterday. You on Matt Harvey, taking a nice number of +110 on the game yesterday. This line movement to me is a lot like the one yesterday for the Reds. We had that reverse line movement going from a dog to a favorite over here. So are you believing in the money movement in this one with Atlanta, Jeff? Or are you going to just ride out Miami, even though Giancarlo's not in the lineup tonight?
No, no, I would look at Atlanta here in this game. They've won 8 of 12 this year against Miami, and this is a great time to fade the Miami Marlins. They're not playing well. They've lost 10 of 11. No Stanton, as you mentioned, and this team has been dreadful at the plate. You look at over the last 7 games or so, 1-6, hitting just 223, haven't been able to get anyone out. And look, Atlanta, we've talked about this all year, Donnie. You continue to talk about the same things in baseball, such a long
Mhm.
season, but a pretty potent lineup. I mean, you have plenty of guys in that lineup that could hit. I don't trust Urania on the road. And look, I think Fulton Avitz has one of the better ceilings of any Atlanta pitcher. Over the course of his career, he's had pretty good numbers against the Miami Marlins. No Stanton, not playing well. It's Atlanta for me in this game.
Jeff, question with you on this game also. If we're taking a look maybe at an over-under at a total, looks like it's sitting at 9 in this instant. If we're taking a look at, I mean, again, hitter's ballpark, we know the ball can fly out down there. Atlanta Braves, Inciarte is going to start, obviously, in the leadoff spot. Ozzy Albies has he actually coming on a little bit lately, hitting 279. But let's take a look at the back end. Is always what I look at. Are there auto outs? Are there guys that can't compete at the major league level? Rio Ruiz, 214 average. Dansby Swanson, who started out sub 200, at least has his numbers up to 240 after coming back from the a minor league stint. Jace Peterson back in the lineup in right field, 196. Not really eliciting a lot that you can say, hey, you know what? If we need that big hit down on the bottom of the lineup in this game, even though it is in Atlanta, Urania's on the mound, Fultonavich, two decent pitchers. I might be leaning under in this one, as hard as it is for me to do with an Atlanta game here.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I mean, when you look at if you look at bottom of the lineup solely in this game, Miami definitely has the better
Yeah.
bottom of the lineup. I mean, Ichiro Suzuki in the 7 hole is never a bad thing. I'm not a big Miguel Rojas guy, but overall,
Yeah.
under's never a bad thing with Miami Marlins right now. They're not hitting. They're not, and when they don't hit, they don't hit. I mean, they're just.
Mhm.
I've seen some games this year where they're just brutal at the plate. A lot of power on that team. Just don't seem to be very good at hitting for average in certain games, but overall, yeah, I'd consider under as well. They're just not hitting well. But for me, I'd lean Atlanta in this game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Just looking at the chat box right now. Thanks for everybody tuning into this. Brick City Matthew says, Donnie, did you get a new camera? Pic looks like it's 4K. It's actually a 4K camera. The reason why it's different here is this show is not on Google Hangouts, so you actually get a little bit better, read, and the camera can go up to HD. So thank you. Hey, I mean, if I'm looking, if me and Jeff are looking sexy today on the air, let us know. Give us a like down there in the chat box. Never hurts, right, Jeff?
Oh yeah, I mean anything to make me look skinnier, I'll take it.
Exactly. Yeah, when we do this, the funny thing is Hangouts, Jeff, adds 10 pounds. When we do a
Yes,
studio show,
right.
takes away 10 pounds. Fantastic. Love it.
Yeah, the studio
Next year up on
show's
the
a little
dot.
bit more
Yeah.
put together. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
put it together. It's not, just a little bit more done the right way. So yeah, anything to knock some weight off, Donnie, I'll take.
I hear you. Keep it moving in Major League Baseball. As again, we'll pick out a nice 5 pack here. We'll go over game number 3 for us, Jeff. Here we go again tonight. 963, 964, Colorado and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Marquez versus Darvish in here. About 4,400 tickets offshore have been tracked in this one, Jeff. 57% of the money line leading towards the Los Angeles Dodgers. Again, here we go. 190 it opens up. Chris is at 195. Pinnacle 193. Bet online 191. Jeff, the common theme, I should say, with the Dodgers, early on again rolling, now struggling late. If you're betting the Dodgers saying, I don't think the Dodgers can lose again tonight, which it seems like every show I'm doing now, Jeff, is that same thing I'm telling you. Do you just say Darvish on the mound, they can't lose again? Because last night was the night you couldn't lose with Kershaw, and you're going to try to double down tonight? Could get interesting here.
Yeah, and I mean the truth of the matter is, I mean, Darvish has just been very average this year. 27 starts. He has an ERA above 4. He hasn't been particularly good on the road. And Donnie, he's given up 26 home runs in 27 games. His WHIP is a little bit higher than normal, and he's not pitched well lately. I would not lay this number. This is a game I would stay away from. The Dodgers are going to win at some point. They have lost 12 or 13 though, and I just don't really like betting against Colorado. I mentioned the last show I did with you guys at the closing line. I mentioned I like Colorado. Didn't show up in that game against Arizona, I think it was.
Mhm.
But overall, I'm just not really looking to bet against Colorado. And right now, I really don't want to lay a number or a price with the Dodgers, which they've been my team this year, my darling all year. And right now, they're just not hitting. They're not playing well, and it's hard to get involved with Darvish right now.
I'm going to take the big numbers again, Jeff. We're looking right here. Just looks like we got hit with another number. Chris, now up to minus 200. So some money coming in on the Dodgers at this time. Don't see any starting lineups just yet out for that. Again, a 10:10 Eastern Standard Time start, 7:10 p.m. out on the West Coast. But over under in this one, Jeff opened up at 8, down to 7.5. You know what, Jeff? I'm going to take a flyer again. Chris is coming back with a minus 200 plus 179. Bet online plus 179. You wager plus 185. Give me the big dog again, because until the Dodgers write it, I'm going to start taking this free money.
Yeah, I mean, at some point they're going to win. It wouldn't surprise me if it's tonight. The problem with Darvish is he's trying to improve his mechanics and all that kind of stuff. You're basically tinkering with a guy that's trying to fix himself right now. So you have to remember that you have a good lineup with Colorado. Haven't really seen much of Darvish, but overall, I mean, plenty of bats in that lineup. And look,
Mhm.
they're not scared of the Dodgers here. So yeah, I mean, two struggling teams for the most part. But
Mhm.
I have no real opinion, and I don't want to lay 1 to 2 with LA right now.
Jeff, next game up on the docket, game 4 I want to look at. Interesting from all angles to me here. It's 967, 968. Obviously, Tampa Bay still trying to fight to get in that playoff hunt with the wild card. Boston still holding down the AL East. If we look at this game overall, Chris opens up minus 129, sitting at minus 131. Pinnacle minus 125. Bet online minus 125. 73% of the money line wagers are going towards Boston here. But this is, to me, still a hurricane game. And what I mean by that is they're playing in Boston, yes, but they've been out of town, creeping up. And now when you see the latest runs of the Hurricane, Jeff, shifting away from Miami and going up on the west coast of Miami towards the Gulf of Mexico area, obviously Tampa Bay is going to sit, what, maybe a couple hundred miles from the tip of South Florida there coming up. They're also going to cancel and not have the home series. I believe it's against the Yankees, they're going to play at Citi Field as opposed to playing down in the
Mhm.
Trop. But baseball players are human beings as well, Jeff. Have to be worried about their family that's still down there. Does that weigh on them one bit? Because again, it's baseball. We get it. It's day to day. But loved ones in the way of harm. Now that it looks like that storm's coming. Do you play off of that, or even look at that when looking at a game or at a series here? Because it's rare. It is rare.
It is rare, but again, it's a I mean, it's a road trip. I mean, that's what it is. It is concerning, surely, but I'm going to go ahead and venture that most of those players that play for the Rays don't. I mean, they may not even live in Tampa. They aren't from Tampa. I'm going to go ahead and guess most of them have family outside of the area. I don't, Donnie. To be honest, I don't think when you're a professional, you have a little bit more, disposal to go out and do things. If you're a college kid in a dorm, okay, maybe, but it's a road trip. I mean, most of them have enough money to send their families, away for a couple weeks, and plenty of money to rebuild their house once it gets hit. But
Yeah,
overall,
yeah.
it
Because
is
I,
going to
I know the
be.
late. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, overall, like the late swing coming up there, maybe it caught him off guard. Like, we're in Tampa. It's not even going to
Sure.
hit this side of the island. I did see a tweet come out today, Jeff, from Duke Johnson talking about his family wasn't able to get out of South Florida. And he caught a lot of heat for that, saying, you're a pro athlete. I mean, again, he's not Tom Brady getting, $20 million a year,
Well,
but they're
I
saying, like,
mean,
hey, what are you doing? And why can't you get out of there? I mean, come on, man. You got to make a couple phone calls, right?
right, and he should have been more proactive in getting them out of there. I mean, again, he's not. You're right. He's not Tom Brady or a high level athlete, but he makes better money than most people. He's got to get
Sure.
his family out of there. That's a good point. But overall, in this game, yeah, I don't think it weighs much into the thinking pattern here. As far as the breakdown, I mean, Boston back into that realm of not hitting again. And we've seen that kind of all year, inconsistent at the plate. Don't have a ton of power on this team anymore. And I don't, frankly, want to back them against Chris Archer. Chris Archer's a guy that I don't like to bet against. He's been fairly impressive his whole career. The one issue, though, is he does not have good numbers against Boston. So this might be the perfect guy to kind of get your, frustrations out and start to hit again. Pomerantz has been good, in most of the season. Really turned it on in the second half. I just don't really want to back the Red Sox right now, and I don't want to back Tampa Bay either because I don't think Archer has good numbers against Boston. Just a lot of Michigas in this one. I don't want to get involved with.
Yeah, maybe a short dog. If you're looking to bet, maybe an angle in this one. I'm going to, instead of messing around with the bullpens, I think Boston has a much stronger bullpen and they're at home. I'll go Chris Archer, maybe first five. I know it's probably going to be slight. If we're looking at plus 115, usually a little bit more juice there on the first five. So he's probably a slight dog, maybe plus 105. I don't have those numbers up. So if I'm looking for a betting angle in this one, I'm not going to mess around with the over, the under. Just give me Chris Archer as a dog. We'll see what we can hit at after 5 innings. Also, a little bit of love in the chat box for the big man on campus. Hey, BMOC, great call on Celtic. I missed the start. FML, we also know what that means as well. But that was the luchador out there from the IFBC, giving you a lot of credit on that one, big man.
Yeah, thanks to him. I saw a couple people on there say thank you. Yeah, they're my squad. I know this team pretty well, and yeah, it was a nice winner, easy winner. PSG won 5-1 as well, so
Mhm.
they'll meet up next week in the Champions League, which should be fun. But yes, thank you, Luchador. Appreciate it. Coming from you, that
There you
means a
go.
lot.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes, it does. He won't show his face, but he will give you props, Jeff. Next up, 973, 974. Minnesota and Kansas City. Jeff, one of your favorite pitchers that you've been tracking all season long: April, May, June, July, August, and now in September. Santana's on the mound versus Kennedy. 2,300 tickets have been tracked in this one. Again, not a lot of love for this game. 64%, however, Jeff, backing the road team here with the Minnesota Twins. Line opened up a favorable number, minus 126 in the favor of the Twins. Chris now has minus 131. Pinnacle minus 126. Bet online minus 128. Any leans in this one over under at 9? I guess you have to have some high numbers because Kansas City pitching staff seems to be giving it up lately. But if you look at the overall, starting lineups in this one, I don't think Moustakas is going to be in the game. And again, just getting back to that Royals team. Paulo Orlando, 175. Alcides Escobar, 243. Alex Gordon. I mean, it's a miracle he's actually at 200. The guy is, looks like he could be in the Mr. Olympia contest, yet he only has 5 home runs on the season. And then you bring up the rear with Ramon Torres at 239 and no home runs on the season. Not something I want to get in the way of in a total in this game, just because I think, I'm not so sure that the Kansas City Royals in that bigger ballpark there at home can hold up. I might just lean with you, Jeff. I don't know where you're going in this one, but I have a pretty good idea. Why not just give me the Twins here and let Irvin Santana ride in this year?
Yeah, yeah, I'm all over the Twins here. Look, I mean, they're the second wild card team Every game means a lot for the Twins right now. They got their ace on the mound, Irvin Santana, who's been really fantastic all year. Not none of that regression ever came for all those people out there that wanted to discuss that. Overall, they're a good road team. Been a good road team all year. Some pretty good numbers for the Twins against Ian Kennedy. Ian Kennedy's bad. He's been bad. And he'll be bad. He's not a good pitcher at home. Kauffman Stadium's really been tough for him this year. And over his last couple starts, he's gotten rolled. About 10 innings, he's given up 9 earned runs. Yeah, not interested in Ian Kennedy here. The Kansas City Royals have a real problem that they have to face here, and that's admitting that they're not going to win anything and starting to sell away a lot of their future. Um, Eric Hosmer, Jason Vargas, they have a lot of free agents on this team, and it's might be time to start to rebuild there in KC after the World Series and that run. Not tonight. Give me the Twins. I like them at this number a lot.
Yeah, some firepower. Just to give you an updated line, or updated information. Los Angeles Dodgers did release their lineup information tonight. Granderson, Seager, Turner, Bellinger, Puig, Peterson, Barnes, and Forsythe, with obviously Yu Darvish backing him up in that role. Let me see if that lineup came out. Still 200, 193, 190. So a heavy favorite in that one. But that'll be the 5-pack for our Major League Baseball card this evening. Hopefully that helped you out a little bit. But we're going to backtrack at the end of the show and see if anything's updated there. Maybe give another play or two out. But Jeff, before we bring in Dave Mason here from Bet Online, we have about 10 minutes to talk college football. I mean, that's really, the crux of it, along with the NFL. We're real excited that football season is here. Why not go after it? Jeff, we talked earlier. We picked out 3 of the bigger games on the card for tomorrow. At the end of the show, as I said again, Jeff and I might give you a lean or something a little bit to feed off of tonight in the college football games. I believe there's 3 overall games tonight. But let's get to this 3-pack on Saturday, Jeff. I know a lot of people have been asking all week to go over some numbers. Kyle down there in Atlanta been chomping at the bit for this one, Jeff. So why don't we start right off at 379, 380. The Georgia Bulldogs traveling to South Bend to face the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. 8,300 tickets have been tracked on this one here. If we take a look at spread dollars, Jeff, 65% of the spread dollars here offshore are backing the Georgia Bulldogs in this one. The line opened up at 6, currently 6 at Chris. 6.5 Pinnacle opened up. That's down to 5. So it looks like Chris is a little bit aggressive with the 6 number, 5.5 at U-Wager. 5 Dimes just posted a 6 total in this football game, Jeff. Climbed up a lot. Chris opened up a little bit earlier at 51.5. Quickly bet to 56.5. Pinnacle at 55. Now sitting at 56.5. So let's just say roughly 56.5 to 57 on that number. Big game here rolling in. Georgia, again, down a quarterback, I believe. Starter went down first game. Fromm, I believe, is going to start in this game versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame opened up nicely versus Temple. Nice rebound. What do you think happens in this game, Jeff?
Well, there's a lot of question marks in this game about Georgia, particularly. I mean, their new quarterback, Fromm, he's going to play here for
Mm-hmm.
Eason. Look, I'll be real. I actually, when I looked at Notre Dame's schedule, I kind of broke it down a couple weeks ago, and I actually picked Georgia in this game to win. Seeing the 6, I'm going to gladly take that number. I think defensively, Georgia's an elite team. I think over the course of the year, I think they're going to be one of the better defenses in the country. Their front 7, particularly their front, is fantastic. Really, really good. And Brandon Wimbush, I got to give some credit to. He played well in Week 1 against the Temple Owls, but I wonder, is the passing game good enough from Notre Dame? Because look, I don't know if their run game is going to be able to do much in this game. They're going to definitely key in on Wimbush, not allow him to run with the football. They've definitely faced running quarterbacks before. Um, but then you look at Georgia. I don't know that I need Fromm to be unbelievable. He was decent the other day. And I think Notre Dame will slow those 2 running backs early, but I think you're really going to wear them down throughout the course of the game. They have not 1, but 2 very good running backs. I think Georgia really kind of shows the country this week that they might be for real. It was an impressive win last week against App State. If you know college football, you know App State's a good football team. If they can go in to Notre Dame and get a win, they'll be well recepted here. There'll be plenty of dog fans in the crowd. I think 6 points is too much here. I before the season started and I had the lines, I picked them to win this game, but that was again with Eason. I don't know that my mind changes much without Eason. I think they're going to definitely wear them down throughout the game, and they just have a better defense. I wonder how good Notre Dame is defensively. So for me, I'm taking dogs plus 6 here.
How about that? Yeah, I actually would lean towards Notre Dame being the home team. I like the way they opened up versus Temple, and I think that line tells me a lot. But we'll see where it ends up there. We're also going to get some information here from Dave Mason in just a little bit. Maybe he knows where that money's going in that game, so we can keep track of it. 82% of the money line actually going on Georgia to win that game outright to get a nice ticket, but 65% of the spread dollars still hanging with, excuse me, spread tickets still hanging with them as well, Jeff. 91% of the spread dollars also backing you, Jeff, with your pick there of the Bulldogs. So interesting one in South Bend. Nice second week of football, Jeff. Let's head over to game two. Another big game here on the docket that we want to talk about. 383, 384, Oklahoma and Ohio State. 8,700 tickets have been tracked in this one, Jeff. 59% are backing the road team here, the Oklahoma Sooners. I know you've backed, or I should say backed them. You've talked about them quite a bit over the summer. Obviously, offense, very strong team. First-year head coach filling in. We'll see how that goes today. Ohio State at home after a scare, so to speak, I would say. Returning back into the horseshoe, 5.5, opened up 7.5 now, Jeff. Pinnacle, 7.5. Bet online, 7.5. You wager 7.5. Over a touchdown here. You're going to give the Oklahoma Sooners? Talk about it, Jeff.
Yeah, in revenge, you're getting a full touchdown to work with here. Look, they lost last year 45-24, and Ohio State was a better team last year. But look, I will say this. Did they turn it up in the second half against Indiana? Sure they did. But I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that score finally really indicated how that game went. Legault really did what he wanted through the air. They threw a lot, and they were pretty positive on that light. It is concerning for me with Oklahoma with Jordan Parker out. He's one of their better secondary players. That hurts having him out. But you look at this, I think this Ohio State team has plenty of talent on defense, particularly in the secondary, but they're going to get tested early. There's no Malik Hooker. There's no Gary Conley. There's none of those guys here anymore. This is a young football team, plenty of talent here, but are they ready for Baker Mayfield? Are they ready for Baker Mayfield in revenge? Are they ready for a war? I think Baker Mayfield is the Heisman. I think he's going to win the Heisman Trophy this year. I just think he's the best quarterback all around. He just reminds you so much of Johnny Manziel, but he's almost better through the air. J.K. Dobbins is great. Barrett's great. Plenty of great players. I just think for me, this is a war. I think it's going to come down to the wire. I don't have a ton schematically on the game. I just think this is too many points. I think this line should be 4 or 4.5, not 7.5. I think you're not giving Oklahoma enough credit here. I know they have a new coach and everything, but at the end of the day, after last year, this should be a war. I think it comes down to the wire. And yes, Ohio State's strength is their defensive line. You're not wrong with that. But again, we have to remember Baker can move around, can move the pocket, he can stretch and move around. For me, I'm going with Oklahoma in this game. I'll take the points. I'll take the touchdown in my back pocket. Should be a war to me.
Hey, Jeff, does this seem high to you, though? I mean, sometimes when these two high caliber teams get together, national stage, night game, everybody's going to be ready for this one. 64 looks like it opened up at Chris sitting at 64, some 63 and a half, even some 63s out there at U Wager and with 5 dimes. Any read on, is it going to be a high flying game? Is Urban Meyer going to try to slow it down, play it close to the vest? But I know that's not really Oklahoma's game plan to do that. High flying, move it out. But again, we're talking about mid 60s in points here with two really good football teams and a ton of athletes. In that type of situation, big game early in the season, would you lean more towards scoring in this one or maybe a more methodical type game played in the high 20s here?
I would lean more for scoring. I don't know if it'll be 45-24, but I definitely think we'll see some scoring here. You still there, Don?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting a little feedback on the mic here. As far as over scoring, I think Ohio State should be able to move the football. Losing Parker is big. Their defensive line is a little inexperienced as well. They should be able to score points, and I do believe Oklahoma will move the ball as well. I think they will throw the ball a little bit more than people might think. I think they're going to want to definitely attack a talented but young secondary. I think this is like a I don't know, 34-28, something like that. It'll be right around the over/under, but I think we'll see more points as opposed to not seeing any.
You got it. One more game to go in just a few moments. We're also going to bring on Dave Mason from Bet Online with us in just a few moments. Jeff, one more game I wanted to take a look at in this three-pack here. It's going to be rotation 387, 388. It's going to be Stanford, USC, about 8,100 tickets I have tracked here. If we take a look at spread dollars, 75% of the tickets currently lined up on Stanford here, Jeff. Line opened up at 5.5 at Chris. Currently sitting at 5.5. Pinnacle 6.5 down to 5.5 in this game. I know you have a good opinion. The one interesting thing I like about this game, Jeff, Stanford rolled over Rice. Almost got a bye week here leading into this game. We all saw USC struggle with Western Michigan, albeit, but they did pull it out late and won by almost a 3-touchdown margin. 5.5 seem a little bit short to you here. Which way would you lean in this game?
No, I like Stanford. I think they win this football game. I thought before the season that's one of the reasons that, to me, 110-1 seemed fantastic here for Stanford. You look at overall what Stanford does well is run the football. USC gave up 263 rushing yards to Western Michigan. I think the big problem for them going forward, USC, is their offensive line. I mean, they give up 2 sacks, 4 tackle for losses against Western Michigan. There's 3 new guys up front. That's concerning. Their skill position players. Who's their number 1 receiver? Darnold was okay. He needs to be better, though. And they're facing a defense this week. I think Holder, Meeks, Reed, Simmons, and that back end Stanford secondary, they are super, super good on the back end there. I think they're going to go in and win this football game. I think Keller Chris is going to have a really special season. He came back from injury quickly. I think Bryce Love is going to be a household name this week that's going to be thrown into everyone's TVs. I just don't have any reason to think that they can stop Bryce Love. They couldn't stop Western Michigan. What makes you think they're going to stop Bryce Love? For me, I'll take the points here. I think Stanford's going to prove that they are a force to win this conference this year.
Yeah, Jeff, it seemed to me last week versus USC, Western Michigan was able to pretty much score at will right up to the end, hanging around. I believe it was 35-35 at one point in the fourth quarter. Stanford, we know, is a little bit different team. They're not going to be, as trickeration that Western Michigan are a really wide open offense. They're going to line up and pound the football right at you. The one thing I wasn't impressed with last week is USC's overall defense. We know they have the talent, 5-star athletes across the board, but that physicality that Stanford's going to bring into this game, impacting the total, was the angle I wanted to look at. 54.5 looks like it opened up at Chris. 56 Pinnacle opened up, now down to 55.5. Bet Online 55.5. How do you see a total in that game? Do you think that Stanford's going to come out and say, you know what, we're going to have 10, 11 play drives and go 3, 4, 5, and 6 yards at you to wear you down? Or do you think they might open it up a little bit more versus USC?
Well, I think they're going to try to wear them down, make them stack the box, and try to stop the run. And then I think Keller Chris is good enough to open it up on the back end. The question is also, I don't know that USC is going to have a lot of luck through the air against this Stanford defense. I think their secondary, I said it before, I think it's one of the best in the country. Doesn't get talked about much. I'd be one to think this is more of a lower scoring game than a higher scoring game. I think both these teams, particularly Stanford, they're going to have no problem sitting on the ball, running the football, just being methodical. That's what David Shaw likes to do. Overall, yeah, I would think it's like a 30, I don't know, 28-24 type of game, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and envision that. I don't see this game being 41-40. I'm sorry.
Yeah, nice three-pack there. Some big games. Me and Jeff will come on in just a few segments here and give some thoughts on tonight's college football action, which is going to tee it up. 3 games tonight. But, Jeff, a great segment tonight, which we're going to have just right now. If anybody watches out there, and I talk about it again, I'm a big fan of where the money's going. Why is the money moving? Lines are moving out there, and really getting a feel on that. No better person to bring on right now for our cross-the-wire access. Dave Mason from BetOnline.ag joins us here. Dave, how you doing tonight? I see we got the graphic up there, Jeff. It looks good. Dave Mason on the phone. But do we have Dave Mason on the phone?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, a lot of reverb on there. I can't really. Yeah. Try to work on that there for us. Jeff, hey, this is live TV, right? Studio show. We can't just break down, can we?
No, you can't just break down. You gotta, sometimes phones are poor. Sometimes you gotta do it. You gotta ad lib on the show, Donnie.
Absolutely. Hey, Can't stop the show here until we get that information figured out there, that line with Dave Mason. We'll bring him in as soon as he's ready and we get that line cleared up, Jeff. Talking over some, again, college football information while we're waiting to get him online. Why don't we just take a look at some of tonight's action, Jeff? I know you're going to abstain from one of these games here today because you do have a premium play that did release to your subscribers. But again, I'm a Mac guy. I'm excited for this game, Jeff. 301, 302, Ohio versus Purdue. 17,000 tickets have been tracked in this one, Jeff. Opened up at 4. Jeff, Chris, sitting at -2.5 now. Is this real money? Can Ohio take this game, Jeff?
Yeah, I think they can. I think this is
Yes.
just a bad line they put out by Purdue. Putting this number out at 4 didn't make any sense. I don't think Purdue's a 4-point team better than I don't think they're 4 points better than a lot of teams. I don't know why they were listed as a favorite here. I thought the line should be what it is now. 2.5, maybe even lower. I think this is a massive reaction to Purdue week 1 in a game they didn't win. They gave up a lot of yards. They were a team that got 3 turnovers, luckily. They don't even know who their quarterback is. Their best skill position player, Markel Jones, is out. Ohio never gets credit. The MAC never gets credit. Ohio's no secret to going into big games and playing well. Purdue's a nice story. I really think they are. And could they win this game by 7? Sure, they could. But from a line perspective, I just can't really feel comfortable laying points with them. I think Ohio's a team that's well rested. They didn't play much in that first game. Most of their starters didn't play past halftime. They blew Hampton out. Purdue really had to extend all their energy to a loss. Gave up a ton of yards in the fashion. And I think Quentin Maxwell needs to play well tonight, Donnie. That's a guy that I really want to see play well here. He's a kid that's kind of had, he's always had someone waiting in the wings or injuries. You get a full lineup tonight. You get all your running backs. You get a pretty good defense, a great run defense. It's time for Quentin Maxwell to show up tonight. And on center stage, Friday night on national TV, give me the Bobcats. I think they win this game. I got 4 early in the week, but I think they win this game. And I've said that before, and I'll say it again. I think they win this game.
Big game tonight. I'm going to be interested. I'm actually really happy to have a MAC game to watch tonight and certainly be able to cheer on and root on. Let's see if we could try this again. I think the line cleared up for us. Dave Mason from betonline.ag. Dave, you there, buddy?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
There we go. Look at that radio TV magic right here.
Blame it on Irma.
How's it going?
I think it's Irma. Everything's great.
Exactly.
How are you?
Fantastic. Great to have you on the show. I'm here with my co-host, Jeff Nadeau, the big man on campus as well. Glad you were able to join us tonight because, Dave, I'm a big fan. All the shows I do, I like to read where the line's going, where the dollars are at, over, under, sharp money, not sharp money coming in here. And again, last night, just to preface, obviously, most of the people, including myself, if I were wagering in that game, would have been leaning towards New England. Last year, I know for the books, didn't matter where New England was, who New England was playing with, what the starters were, what the backups were, what the line was, what the total was. New England took everybody to task behind the counter. So I want to ask you right away, did you celebrate last night? Was everybody popping bottles that New England finally went down last night?
Oh yeah, long overdue. Like you said, last year was. I mean, what were they? 17-2 against the spread last year, including the postseason, and then that Super Bowl was just brutal for the house. So yeah, they scored that first touchdown real quick, and I was like, oh God, here we go again. It's going to be a burial again. But we finally got one against the Patriots. But yeah, I think about like 67% of the money was on for the spread was on the Patriots. The over got hit, but it wasn't as significant. But the big one was not only that the Chiefs covered, but they won outright because that just killed teasers. I mean, there was so much teaser action on the Patriots last night. And as you guys probably know, that teasers were just so bad for the books last year. Anytime they're right around 7-8 points, everybody's just teasing down to go through those 2 key numbers, and they just covered with ease all last season. So everybody's doing that now, and last night KC winning outright really killed a lot of teasers going into the weekend. So it was a really good grade for the house. But you can't celebrate too much. You take it one game at a time. Big slate tomorrow and a big slate Sunday. So plenty of time for the bettors to get their money back.
Yeah, Dave, from your side of the counter there and looking over, like, where the lines are going, where the spreads are moving, do you guys have like rooting interest throughout the day? Because I know not so much from the betting aspect, where if you put down, $50 or $100 wage, you're going to be cheering on the New England Patriots. Is it similar in your industry there, where you're just saying, hey, you know what? The New England Patriots are out there on the field, and I know we have a big liability one side. Do you guys actively root, or just know, you know what? That money's eventually going to come back one way or the other, or do you guys even take a liking into that type of angle?
Now we root, man. we sweat it just as much as the players, man. Especially a big game like last night. There was just so much action on it, and yeah, no, we're always rooting. It's some games are bigger than others, and if you're gonna lose, lose in the beginning of the season, it's tougher. Like a Super Bowl, for instance. So you're rooting like hell for those games because
Yeah.
the Super Bowl, it's such a big game, but come Monday, and if you lose like we did last Super Bowl, all those football bettors are gone until next September. So many people just leave until next September, so you can't get your money back. So if you lose week one,
Mhm.
okay, well they're funded for Sunday, Saturday, week two, whatever. So it's a timing thing. But yeah, last night's decision was so big. Yeah, we were rooting like hell for the Chiefs. We needed them big.
Fantastic. We're going to talk NFL, Dave, with you in just a few moments here. If you guys are just joining in, this is Dave Mason from BetOnline.ag talking with us here, just getting us a different perspective on where some of the money is going to be moving around this weekend. If we take a look NCAA football here, Dave, there's a lot more games, obviously, in college football than there is in the National Football League. Liability spread much across the board. Talk to us today. Are there any games? I know because there's a couple big games Jeff and I just previewed here. Are there games where you might be a little bit liable in some of those bigger ones, or maybe where the money's going? Point us in the right direction on who you actually would be rooting or cheering for from your side here, Dave.
Well, tonight we're huge South Alabama fans. About 85% of the bets are on Oklahoma State minus 28. Saturday, like you said, there's some really big games. It's already getting a lot of early action. The biggest liabilities right now, Georgia's going to be a monster. 79% of the bets and 83% of the money is on Georgia plus 5 at Notre Dame. Penn State, everybody's on Penn State. They had a cakewalk last weekend, looked great. About 72% of the actions on Penn State versus Pitt. And Stanford, you guys are talking about Stanford. That's going to be a big one. 79% of the bets are on Stanford at USC. The Ohio State game, the money's pretty even, but there's about more of the bets are on Oklahoma. So those are our biggest needs so far. Some of that will change, but that's what it's trending toward. That Georgia game and Stanford, where it looks like they're going to be the biggest decisions of the day.
And of course, with the primetime games and the TV games, obviously the handle seems increasing there, Dave, with those games. Following it right up till game time, do you see like late breaking, sharp money coming in, or a lot of public money coming in that you have to shift up and do a couple things? So I know, there's a lot more games in college football than there are professional football, which is the point I'm trying to make. But right before the game, like that last 15 minutes, are you guys looking like really close? Maybe if you have to shift a line or move some money, move some spreads around in that instance?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. It'll be late. It'll be more public. There might be some sharps sitting there waiting for a public move and grab an extra half point there. But late up until kickoff, usually if it's going to move, it's usually just based on the public action. The sharps are usually hitting a little bit earlier. They'll bet throughout the day, yeah. But those late moves are usually just because all that money's coming in late. We know the public really likes to wait. They'll bet those early games, and if they win, they just bet the next set of games and the next set of games and so forth. So yeah, the public action just keeps coming in as close we get to those games. So if the number does move late, usually it's just a little bit, and usually that's because of public, because the sharps are usually hitting that earlier in the day. Not
You
always,
got
but
it. Now
usually.
moving over. On Sunday afternoon action here for us. Obviously, big weekend. You probably get a huge handle as is just because it's the opening weekend. A lot of people like to get in. They've been waiting all season. Some don't bet college basketball. Some don't bet college football. They just want to wait for the NFL. The interesting one that Jeff and I always talk about is no matter what you had last year, it seemed like the Sharps were just waiting for the Cleveland Browns to cover and betting them almost blind each and every week and taking losses on that. A big number to open on Sunday with Roethlisberger and Kaiser teeing it off there with Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Cleveland. Huge betting handle on that one going against Pittsburgh, or excuse me, going against Cleveland, that one, because they seem to be the easy target, but it's a higher line in that one, maybe tied in with teasers, parlays, and stuff. Just give me some of the liabilities on Sunday that you're actually looking at here, Dave.
Yeah, well, that one's right now. That's our second biggest liability. About 82% of the actions on the Steelers. That's currently -8.5. Yeah, we did see a little bit of sharp action. Some sharp spot. Took Browns +9 earlier, but like you said, I mean that there's going to be so much teaser action. You know, that 82% of the bets is what I'm talking about. That's just the straights on the spread, but that teaser action, that's going to be teased with everything, just like the Patriots the other night. Also, speaking of teasers, Falcons, that's a huge public play. 83% of the bets on the Falcons. Those are by far our two biggest decisions. Shaping that's what it's shaping up for, the Falcons and the Steelers. But you know that Falcon, we got a little reverse line movement. That's down to 6. Sharps are hitting the Bears at 6.5 and above. So those are our two biggest. Third biggest is the Cardinals -2 at the Lions versus Lions. About 73% of the actions on the Cardinals. Yeah, so you know that's what we're at for Sunday. But there's going to be you know every other game is lopsided, man. It's you know those 50-50 action games where we just sit back and collect the juice. And they don't exist very much. There's always a sweat.
Yep, absolutely. Getting the Pepto-Bismol out for you this weekend and getting ready. I can certainly see that happening. There is some other stuff going on this weekend here, Dave. UFC is taking place. I know one of the major fights in that one was canceled. Talk a little bit from your perspective. I know you're getting underway with NCAA football. NFL is going to take center stage. Does UFC take a little bit of a hit now because maybe people aren't paying attention to it? Or talk about where some of the money might be coming around, maybe some liabilities in that type of an event.
Right. Yes and no. I mean, it does take it much, you know, if there's a card in July, you know, that's the thing that's going on Saturday, right? But you got to look at it two ways, where it might not be the main event of the day or the weekend, or, you know, it's a tertiary event of the weekend. That being said, there's so many more people on the site now compared to a July and August, you know, so it's still going to get as much action, if not more. But again, it all comes down to who's on the card, right? You know, the main event just got canceled. It'll still get good action, of course. The main event now, it moved up, is it Nunes versus Shevchenko, and the bettors are counting on a new women's bantamweight champ. Is about 68% of the actions on Shevchenko. She's even though she's the challenger, she's the currently -127 favorite. And Nunes, the champ, is paying +107. You know, we got a lot of sharp money coming in. Neil Magny's a sharp play. He's down to +143. He was about +165 earlier yesterday. Tyson Pedro was a small dog yesterday. He's now -140. Gilbert Melendez, that was about a pick. He was actually a small dog, and he's now -130. So those are some of the sharper plays we got going on. But yeah, I mean, it'll get a lot of action tomorrow just because there's so many more people on the site now compared to August, July, June, May, etc.
Fantastic stuff there. On the closing line, if you're just watching now, Dave Mason from betonline.ag. We're going over some NCAA, some NFL information, where that money is going, UFC as well. Dave, quick question here for you. I'm going to bring in my guest host here, Jeff Nadu, the big man on campus. I want you to ask you a quick question here, buddy. Go ahead, Jeff.
Go for it.
Yeah, Dave. Just had a quick question. Big fight coming up next week between Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin. Just wondered quickly if you had anything on that, any info you could give. I know Gennady Golovkin's a small favorite. Canelo looks pretty nice at that dog price. Anything you can give us on that?
Yeah, not much sharp yet, but the number is going down a little bit. I think we opened Triple G like -170 if memory serves me correct, and like you said, he's down to -148. But you know the public's on Sal; they're on Canelo. About last I checked earlier today, and it was about 63% of the bets are on Canelo. So we're going to be rooting for Triple G, but the sharp stuff, not too much sharp stuff yet. I think they're going to hit Triple G, to tell you the truth. It's going to keep going down. I think they're going to be a price, and I think the sharp's going to hit Triple G.
Oh,
Awesome
fantastic
stuff.
information
Thanks,
there.
man.
Dave, I know you're a pretty busy man here, so I do want to thank you for joining the closing line today. Dave Mason from betonline.ag. Fantastic guest, Dave. Thanks for coming on. We hope to do it again soon, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. Have a good weekend, guys. Good luck.
You got to take care. Good luck down there. Absolutely. Thank you,
All
folks.
right.
That was
Bye-bye.
Dave
Thanks,
Mason again
Dave.
from betonline.ag. Jeff, how about that? Getting some information on where that money's going and everything. How about that, huh?
I got to tell you, Donnie, I sensed a little Philly accent there too. I don't know if you heard it, but it sounds like a Philly guy. So I always, look, I've made it clear I love Bet Online. Great website. One of my favorites. So yeah, great information. It's always great when you get in the bookie's head a little bit. Great stuff. Good interview.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love to see where it's going. We'll have Dave on probably for a weekly spot here. Fantastic information. Nice guy, always willing to come on and help us out here at sportsbookreview.com. Jeff, we have about 10 minutes left in the show. Why don't we touch on a little bit of NFL action? I know we were just talking where some of that money was going. And again, Jeff, we always joke about it too. Is everybody going to continue bet the Cleveland Browns until they show up? Hey, maybe the curse is broken, Jeff. New England doesn't cover. Now maybe Cleveland covers here?
Yeah, maybe they shock the world and the Jets win too. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
Could be a crazy week. Get on the dogs.
No, absolutely. Again, last night, first night kickoff, Sunday coming up there, Jeff. We don't have time to go over many of these games. Let's just pick out maybe one or two interesting games, Jeff. I'd be remiss. I'm watching the chat box. The only thing I don't like about actually doing the show, Jeff, is I can't keep up to date on Twitter and social media, but I'm seeing some stuff in there for the Zeke Elliott, possibly suspension, getting messed around there in the court system. Maybe he's going to play, maybe he's going to not. I'm trying to read in here and see what's going on. Kyle Hamburg says judge said he didn't receive a fundamentally fair hearing. It was suspended. Austin saying that as well. So we'll see about that. And Jeff, hey, we're in a couple fantasy leagues here at SBR. Somebody drafted Zeke Elliott on a whim. Maybe it works out for me, huh? How about that?
Yeah, you took Ezekiel. Good move by you. Might work, it might
Yeah,
not.
that's it.
I guess we'll see.
No, we'll definitely see it play out there. But, Jeff, let's hit a quick game here in the NFL. Again, we'll segue it right into 477, 478. That's going to be Eli Manning and Dak Prescott going head-to-head down in Jerry World, the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. Only about 5,800 tickets tracked. That's going to absolutely skyrocket once we get through the weekend, through Saturday, and probably through Sunday as well. Look, if we're looking at tickets there, Jeff, 62% are backing spread-wise. The New York Giants in this one opened up at 4.5, now sitting at 4.5. We were seeing 3.5 for a while, but looks like those numbers are going up. 4 looks like it's across the board. Jeff, whether or not Ezekiel Elliott played, my thoughts on that one. I was leaning Dallas all along throughout the summer. I'm going to go ahead and take Dallas. If you're looking at now, might as well grab that 4 out there, because if Ezekiel Elliott's going to play in that game, and let's talk about the prima donna, Odell Beckham, in this game. Will he travel? He can't even run in a straight line. Odell Beckham is probably 100% for this football game and will play. So don't buy that smoke screen down there. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm actually disagree with that. According to the New York Post, he's about 50% to play right now. According to Ben McAdoo, there's a small chance he'll participate in a light workout on Saturday. But from all indications they said he has some rehab in front of him. We'll see. I mean, obviously it's only going to be a plus if he does. But look, even if he does, I like the Dallas Cowboys in this spot. They're at home. Ezekiel Elliott's going to be on fire to play this game. He feels that he hasn't done anything wrong. He feels that he's the victim in this case with this woman that's making things up. So I think he's going to want to come out here and play pretty well. They're at home. I think offensively, I think they're better. And I made it clear, I don't think what the Giants did in the offseason is that great. They went out and got Brandon Marshall, big deal. Their offensive line's not great, and we know Eli Manning makes mistakes. For me, I just think the Cowboys are a better football team. I like what they did in the draft. They went out and got some depth in the secondary. And overall, if Sean Lee's in there, they're a better defense. So for me, I'm going to lean with the Cowboys. They haven't had a lot of success lately against the Giants, but I think in this one they get a little retribution and cover the number. I think they'll win I don't know, 31-21, something like that.
Yeah, a couple minutes left in the show. And guys, if you haven't known yet, I mean, obviously, we know Jeff throughout the channel. They are going to be on tomorrow morning with Pete, 11 a.m. Eastern time, breaking down the entire college football card. Also on Sunday, I'll be with Gabe in the morning from 12 to 1 p.m., taking you right up through game time on Sundays. Also on at halftime. Jeff is actually going to join me. Here we go. If you want to talk about the hardest working man in the business, Jeff's going to join me at about 7:30 on Sunday night. We're going to break down the Sunday night football game. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about that Giants and Cowboys game, but also rehash what happened during the day. But Jeff's also going to be on with Gabe during the game, correct, Jeff? The Giants game?
Yeah, I'm just a kid with a dream trying to make it, Donnie. My dad always told me work hard and things will come to you. So that's what I'm doing here. I love SBR. They're my family.
Yeah, catching that overtime. I mean, there ain't no rest for the weary during football season, which is awesome. Catch you caught up here. We only have a few minutes left here with baseball that's going to have opening pitch in a few moments here. Hey, Jeff, by the way, you can get a bargain basement right now on the Washington Nationals at Chris at minus 362. Sportsbook.com, Jeff. Minus 380. Give me your thoughts. Come on, real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they lose tonight. But yeah, I think you made an interesting comment before about why even line this game. I mean, why not make it like they do with like Hampton and you know really good team. Don't even line the game.
Yeah,
But
just
yeah,
leave it
no,
off
I
the
mean,
board. I mean, my goodness.
it's not like the Nationals are playing bad right now. They have their man on the mound. Thompson's a mess. You can't get much of a more discrepancy than these two pitchers tonight, Jake Thompson and Max Scherzer. Yeah, it's a heavy number. This will be in a lot of parlays. But I'll say this here, Donnie. I'll give you a little free parlay. I don't do
Go,
parlays,
go.
but if
There
you
we
want
go. There
one,
we go.
par-
If it's free, it's
parlay
me.
this with parlay this tomorrow with Roman Gonzalez in boxing. He's going to absolutely crush Asur Rogavasal. He's fighting tomorrow. He's like minus 350 as well. Parlay those together. Shouldn't lose. I don't think it'll lose.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little Taco Bell money tonight. I'm going to keep it square there. I'm going to take Chris Archer first 5 innings, small, plus the money line there. It's either going to be tonight for me, Taco Bell, Jeff, or it's going to be Taco Hell. Leave these people with a play tonight that you might want to look at maybe in baseball, whether it be college football. What can they dig on? Maybe, throw a little action down and have some fun tonight.
Yeah, I don't eat Taco Bell and I won't, but I'll give you a little Ruth Chris money here. Let's go. I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm going to go Ohio Bobcats on the money line. I think we see tonight
Yes.
that Purdue is just Purdue. I'm going to stick with my boys from the MAC. Donnie, we love the MAC. How can I not take
do.
the Ohio Bobcats here? They might lose tonight. It might not be close, but you know what? I'm going to take the tough team from Athens and go with Ohio. Plus 120 on the money line.
Fantastic. I want to thank again Dave Mason from betonline.ag joining the show tonight. My main man, my partner in crime, always there to help out at any time. Jeff Nadu, the big man on campus. Check out all his stuff here on SBR. Fantastic stuff. The hardest working man in the business. Check out all the latest at SBRodds.com and the latest on social media. Give us a follow on social media at SBR Sports Picks. Also subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us a like down there. Love that you guys tune into the show. And we'll sort of wrap it up here and get underway here in football from all of us at Sportsbook Review. Good luck on your wagers, and I hope I helped you beat the closing line tonight.